But I don't dwell on awards, you know. The only thing I'm concerned with is the fans.
Once a shining star in the world of country music, Ricky Van Shelton seemed unstoppable with his soulful voice and chart-topping hits. But just as quickly as he climbed the charts, he disappeared, leaving fans confused. Whatever his reason was, there's definitely more to the story. Join us as we find out what really happened to the country music icon. Walking the path of fame. Ricky Van Shelton, a celebrated country music artist, was born in 1952 at the Danville Regional Medical Center in Danville, Virginia. His parents, Jenks and Eloise Shelton, provided him with a nurturing environment in the small, rural community of Grit, Virginia, where he spent most of his childhood. Although his middle name, Van, might suggest Dutch ancestry, it is not derived from his last name, but rather a unique choice by his parents. Shelton later attended high school in the nearby town of Gretna, Virginia, where his passion for music began to take shape. Shelton's father, Jenks, was deeply devoted to gospel music and often performed it himself. This undoubtedly influenced Ricky during his early years, and he found himself captivated by the heartfelt and spiritual nature of gospel tunes.
My beagle running something up through the woods, or hear the tree frogs.
As a young boy, he eagerly joined church services, singing gospel hymns with sincerity and enthusiasm. However, his musical tastes began to diversify as he grew older. While gospel remained an essential part of his upbringing, Shelton developed an appreciation for the energy and variety of pop music. By the time he reached his teenage years, another genre had captured his heart, and that was country music. Immersing himself in this newfound love for country, Shelton began performing with his brother's band, honing his vocal skills and building his confidence. He eagerly took every opportunity to showcase his talent, performing at local events and any venue that would welcome him. His dedication to his craft during these formative years laid the foundation for what would later become an extraordinary career. After graduating high school, Shelton continued to pursue his passion for music while supporting himself with a series of regular jobs. He started performing in area clubs, gaining local recognition and steadily improving his stage presence. In 1984, his life took a significant turn when his girlfriend at the time, Bettye, secured a job opportunity in Nashville, Tennessee. Deciding to follow her to the music capital, Shelton packed his bags and joined her on this life-changing journey. The couple's relationship blossomed, and 2 years later, on August 4, 1986, they married. Once in Nashville, Shelton dedicated himself to breaking into the highly competitive country music scene. He performed relentlessly in local nightclubs, showcasing his vocal abilities and charisma while trying to secure a recording contract. His breakthrough moment came in 1986 when Jerry Thompson, a prominent newspaper columnist, happened to hear one of Shelton's demo recordings. Recognizing his potential, Thompson arranged for Shelton to audition with Columbia Records. Shelton's talent and charm impressed the executives, and he was swiftly offered a recording contract with CBS Records, marking the beginning of his professional music career. Thompson later became Shelton's manager, guiding him through the initial stages of his rise. That same year, Shelton recorded his debut album, Wild-Eyed Dream. The album's title track was released as a single and made an impressive debut, reaching number 24 on the country charts. This success marked the start of a promising career, and the momentum only grew from there. Shelton's second single from the album, Crime of Passion, climbed even higher on the charts, landing him a spot in the top 10. However, it was the release of Somebody Lied that catapulted Shelton to stardom. In December 1987, the song reached number 1 on the Hot Country Singles and Tracks chart, grounding his place as a rising star in the country music world. Shelton's debut album became a massive success, both commercially and critically. 2 additional singles from the album, Life Turned Her That Way and Don't We All Have the Right, also achieved number 1 status on the country charts. His album reached the number 1 spot on the Top Country Albums chart in 1987, becoming one of the year's best-selling country records. These accomplishments positioned Shelton as one of the most successful male vocalists of that era, a remarkable achievement for an artist in the early stages of his career. Building on this momentum, Shelton continued to achieve extraordinary success the following year with the release of his second album, Loving Proof. This album also reached number 1 on the Billboard Country Albums chart and produced 3 chart-topping singles. The first, I'll Leave This World Loving You, dominated the charts for 2 weeks in November 1988. This was followed by From a Jack to a King, a heartfelt remake of Ned Miller's original, which became a number 1 hit in March 1989. Later that year, Shelton released Living Proof, which also soared to the top of the charts in October 1989. During this period, country music was experiencing the peak of the neo-traditionalist movement, a genre revival characterized by its return to the classic sounds of traditional country. Shelton's rich, authentic voice and his choice of material resonated deeply with fans, placing him among the leading figures of the movement. He joined the ranks of other prominent artists, all of whom were riding the wave of renewed interest in traditional country music. Staying on top, Rick Van Shelton's career became a shining beacon of success in the world of country music, consistently earning him accolades and keeping his name prominently featured on the charts. His third studio album, aptly titled RVS3, continued this tradition of excellence. Released during the peak of his career, the album was well received and produced one #1 single, the heartfelt and deeply emotional "I've Cried My Last Tear for You." While this was the only chart-topping track from the album, two other singles, "Statue of a Fool" and "I Meant Every Word He Said," came really close, with both securing the #2 spot on the country charts. Notably, "Statue of a Fool" was a reimagining of a classic originally recorded by Jack Green, and Shelton's interpretation breathed new life into the song, showcasing his ability to take existing material and make it uniquely his own. By this point, Shelton had firmly reinforced his position as one of the most successful male vocalists in country music, a status emphasized by the fact that all of his albums during this era achieved platinum certification from the RIAA. Also, these albums consistently dominated the top country albums chart, securing the #1 spot with incredible regularity. In 1990, Shelton expanded his repertoire beyond traditional albums by venturing into seasonal music with the release of Ricky Van Shelton Sings Christmas. This festive collection highlighted his versatility as an artist, offering a taste of his softer, more celebratory side. However, music was not the only outlet for Shelton's creativity during this period. Around the same time, he explored an entirely new medium by writing a series of charming children's books. These stories were designed to captivate young readers, and each book was brought to life with delightful illustrations by Shan Williams Burklow. Shelton's venture into children's literature showcased his multifaceted talents and demonstrated his ability to connect with audiences across generations.
Well, I wrote 3 children's books, and they're called Tales from a Duck Named Quacker.
Yep.
And they're written in rhythm and rhyme.
As the 1990s progressed, Shelton's momentum showed no signs of slowing. The year 1999 was yet another milestone in his illustrious career. During this period, he collaborated with the legendary Dolly Parton on the duet "Rockin' Years," which soared to the top of the charts, earning him another #1 hit. That same year, Shelton released a new album titled Backroads. This record marked a significant chapter in his journey, featuring his final #1 singles, as well as a notable track, After the Lights Go Out, which climbed to #13 on the charts. With its blend of heartfelt lyrics and Shelton's signature vocal prowess, the album was a resounding success, further affirming his reputation as a powerhouse in the country music scene. However, by 1992, Shelton began to experience a shift in the course of his career. The winds of change were sweeping through the country music industry, bringing with them a new wave of artists and a shift in musical styles. Despite these changes, Shelton continued to make his mark. His last top 10 hit, the dynamic and energetic Wild Man, reached #5 on the charts and was featured on his Greatest Hits Plus album. Another single, Just As I Am, was also included in this compilation, though it only managed to break into the top 30. During this time, Shelton also explored his spiritual side, releasing a gospel album titled Don't Overlook Salvation. This project revealed another dimension of his artistry, emphasizing themes of faith and devotion. As it approached the mid-1990s, it became increasingly evident that Shelton's eminence on the charts was waning. By 1993, his songs were no longer dominating the top 10, and by 1994, he released what would be his final top 40 hit, Where Was I? Following the release of his Love and Honor album that same year, Shelton made the critical decision to part ways with Columbia Records, the label that had been instrumental in shaping his early career. Despite stepping away from the major label spotlight, Shelton remained active in the music industry. Although Columbia continued to release greatest hits compilations to keep his legacy alive, Shelton shifted his focus to other projects. Far from retiring, He continued to perform and pursue his passion for music on his own terms until 1997, when he decided it was time to take a bold step forward. Shelton established his own label, RVS Records. This move allowed him to regain creative control over his work and marked the beginning of a new chapter in his career. That same year, he released Making Plans, his first album in 3 years. Financing the project independently, Shelton partnered with Walmart to distribute the album exclusively through their stores, displaying his entrepreneurial spirit and willingness to innovate. In 2000, Shelton signed with the Audium label and released another album, Fried Green Tomatoes. This record included a single titled The Decision, which was his first release in over 5 years. However, the song struggled to gain traction on the charts, reflecting the challenges Shelton faced as an artist navigating an industry that had evolved significantly since his heyday. Although Shelton's later albums did not replicate the chart-topping success of his earlier work, they showcased his enduring passion for music and his commitment to creating art that resonated with his audience. Throughout his career, Shelton's ability to adapt and explore new avenues highlighted his resilience and dedication to his craft. However, his life wasn't without struggles and challenges. Falling apart. Ricky's battle with alcohol became a defining chapter of his life, not just because of its impact on his career, but because of how it affected those closest to him, particularly his wife, Bettye. Bettye, who married Ricky in 1986, became his steadfast anchor throughout his chaotic journey. Their love story, though filled with moments of tenderness and support, was tested by Ricky's drinking problem and infidelity.
Looking for happiness in all the wrong places. Mostly he kept turning to alcohol, he was turning to other women.
While Ricky's music career was flourishing, with chart-topping hits and sold-out shows, his personal life was quietly unraveling. Alcohol, which he initially indulged in casually, began to seep into every corner of his existence. It affected his relationships, his decision-making, and even his performances. Despite the success he achieved, Ricky was struggling internally, and Bettye saw the toll it was taking on him. Bettye approached Ricky's drinking problem with a mixture of compassion and determination. She understood that his fame came with immense pressure, and alcohol became a way for him to cope. However, she also realized that if unchecked, it could destroy not just his career but also their marriage. Bettye did not shy away from addressing the issue head-on. She made it clear to Ricky that she was deeply concerned for his well-being and that of their future together. Over time, Bettye's support began to make a difference. While Ricky's drinking problem did not disappear overnight, her commitment to helping him find his way out of the darkness became a crucial part of his journey to recovery. She encouraged him to seek help, suggesting therapy and rehabilitation. It wasn't an easy road, but Bettye's persistence proved to be a lifeline. She refused to let him give in to his addiction without a fight, standing by him with strong devotion. At the same time, Bettye wasn't afraid to draw boundaries when necessary. She worked tirelessly to create an environment where he felt supported in his efforts to change. Her strength came from her deep love for Ricky, but also from her recognition that she couldn't let his struggles consume her own life entirely. She knew she had to be strong for both of them, and that determination became a cornerstone of their eventual success in overcoming his addiction. What made Bettye's handling of the situation particularly remarkable was a divinely inspired friendship with Andy Landis that provided the strength and support necessary to persevere.
And that's when she decided to, she decided to turn over her life and her marriage to the Lord, and it was a scary moment.
Through this bond, Bettye found the courage to confront the issues in her marriage, ultimately leading to reconciliation and healing. Years later, Bettye chronicled her experiences in her memoir, offering an honest and heartfelt account of what it was like to stand beside Ricky during one of the most challenging periods of their marriage. In her writing, she spoke candidly about the pain and frustration she felt as she watched the man she loved battle his demons. Bettye didn't sugarcoat the difficulties they faced, or the moments when she questioned whether their marriage could survive. One of the most striking aspects of Bettye's biography was the vulnerability with which she shared her story. She delved deeply into the emotional toll that Ricky's drinking took on her, recounting nights filled with worry and days spent trying to hold things together, even at the point when he contemplated ending his life. However, she also shared moments of hope and triumph, emphasizing the importance of perseverance and how faith and commitment ultimately helped them navigate the storm. Betty's writing also revealed the extent to which Ricky's struggle with alcohol influenced their relationship. She described how their bond was tested repeatedly, with moments of conflict and heartbreak and even separation. However, she also spoke about how those challenges ultimately brought them closer, forcing them to confront their vulnerabilities and rebuild their trust in each other. As Ricky began to confront his drinking problem more seriously, he found himself leaning on Bettye more than ever. Her steadfast belief in him became a source of strength, motivating him to keep going even when the path to recovery seemed impossibly difficult. He began to make changes, seeking professional help and surrounding himself with people who supported his sobriety. Bettye was there every step of the way, offering encouragement and celebrating his progress. Through Betty's memoir, readers saw a picture of a marriage that was far from perfect, but deeply rooted in love and resilience. Betty's account of their journey was not just a story about addiction and recovery. It was a story about love, sacrifice, and the unbreakable bond between two people determined to face life's challenges together. Through her words, she showed that even in the face of adversity, it is possible to find hope and healing. Ricky's eventual recovery marked a turning point not just in his personal life, but also in his career. With Betty's support, he was able to regain control of his life and find renewed purpose in his music. In the years that followed, Ricky and Bettye continued to navigate life together, their bond strengthened by the challenges they had overcome. Eventually, time came when Shelton had to take another bold step. The retreat. In 2006, Shelton made the decision to step back from music altogether. At an unexpected point in his career, he shocked fans by announcing his retirement from the industry, citing a desire to focus on his family and personal well-being. While many praised his choice to prioritize what truly mattered to him, others viewed it as an abrupt and unreasonable departure. Some critics speculated that his decision was influenced by declining record sales or an inability to adapt to the changing landscape of country music in the late 1990s. Whatever the reasons, his absence left a noticeable void in the genre, and fans were left wondering what might have been had he chosen to continue. While this decision is surely his to make, it has left fans feeling disconnected and longing for closure regarding his abrupt departure. Meanwhile, Shelton's retreat from the public eye did not entirely shield him from controversy. Over the years, he has been criticized for what some perceive as an unwillingness to engage with his legacy or connect with fans in the way other retired artists often do. Unlike many of his contemporaries who continued to tour, release music, or maintain a social media presence, Shelton has remained largely reclusive, offering little insight into his post-music life. Ricky Van Shelton became a name that was once synonymous with country music success. However, as with many artists who achieve rapid fame, Shelton's career was not without its share of challenges and controversies. Beneath the shining surface of his stardom lay a complex narrative filled with struggles, disputes, and personal turmoil, all of which contributed to his eventual withdrawal from the limelight. Shelton's rise to fame was incredibly swift, propelled by his rich, resonant voice and an ability to connect deeply with audiences. Fans embraced him wholeheartedly, and his albums sold in massive quantities. However, the very pressures that accompanied his success would later become sources of immense strain. The demands of constant touring, recording, and maintaining his public image gradually took their toll, chipping away at the man behind the music. One of the most prominent challenges Shelton faced was the unrelenting pressure of the country music industry. It is a world that demands not only talent, but also conformity to certain standards and expectations. Shelton, while immensely gifted, found himself grappling with the rigid structures imposed by record labels and industry executives. They dictated much of his artistic direction, often stifling his creative freedom in favor of commercially safe choices. Although he was able to deliver hit after hit, he reportedly grew increasingly unhappy with the lack of control over his musical output. This frustration, though rarely discussed openly at the time, seeped into his professional relationships and fueled tensions between him and those managing his career.
And that's the reason that I asked out of my contract with Columbia back in 92, 93.
Shelton's personal life, often scrutinized by fans and the media alike, was another problem. Despite portraying a wholesome, family-oriented image in his music, rumors of marital strife and infidelity occasionally surfaced, casting a shadow over his otherwise clean-cut reputation. While these claims were never substantiated in the public eye, They fed into the narrative of a man struggling to reconcile his private realities with his public persona. Adding to this struggle was Shelton's well-documented battle with alcoholism. While his public persona remained intact for much of his career, rumors of his drinking problems began to surface during his peak years. The pressures of fame and the isolation of life on the road reportedly worsened his dependency, creating a vicious cycle that became difficult to break. Although Shelton sought help and publicly addressed his struggles later in life, the impact of his addiction on both his personal and professional life was profound. It not only strained his relationships with loved ones, but also contributed to a growing sense of disillusionment with the music industry. While his impact is undeniable, the controversies and challenges he faced continue to distort the narrative of his career. In recent years, Shelton's legacy has been the subject of renewed interest, with many fans and historians revisiting his contributions to country music. For some, these struggles only add depth to his story, painting a picture of an artist who achieved greatness despite immense personal and professional obstacles. For others, they serve as a reminder of the darker side of fame and the sacrifices often required to sustain it. Shelton's story is one of immense talent, perseverance, and ultimately, resilience. It is also a story of contradictions, of a man who could evoke raw, genuine emotion through his music while battling private demons that threatened to overshadow his achievements. His decision to walk away from the spotlight, while controversial, speaks volumes about his priorities and the personal cost of his fame. Though the controversies and challenges surrounding his life may never be fully resolved, they do little to diminish the impact of his work. Instead, they highlight the complexities that often lie beneath the surface of even the most celebrated figures. While his departure from the industry may leave fans yearning for more, his legacy as one of the genre's most compelling voices remains secure. Achievements and awards. Ricky Van Shelton amassed an impressive array of nominations and awards, solidifying his legacy as one of the genre's most celebrated artists. His ability to connect with audiences through heartfelt lyrics and soulful vocals earned him widespread recognition and accolades, spanning various prestigious awards shows. In 1988, Shelton earned nominations for Single of the Year from the Country Music Association and the Academy with the success of his single Somebody Lied. That same year, he won the CMA Horizon Award. This recognition set the tone for what would become a prolific award-winning streak. His undeniable talent also earned him the ACM Top New Male Vocalist Award, affirming his status as a star. The following year, Shelton achieved even greater heights with his album Loving Proof. The record, widely regarded as a masterpiece, earned him numerous nominations, including Album of the Year at the CMAs, ACMs, and the Music City News Country Awards. Tracks like I'll Leave This World Loving You gained him multiple wins, including Single of the Year and Video of the Year at the TNN Music City News Country Awards. He also bagged Favorite Song of the Year at the TNN Viewers' Choice Awards. His vocal performance on this ballad was praised for its emotional depth, reinforcing his reputation as a master storyteller. Additionally, Loving Proof was nominated for Favorite Country Album at the American Music Awards, showcasing its widespread appeal beyond traditional country circles. As his career progressed, Shelton continued to dominate the industry. In 1989, he was named Male Artist of the Year at the TNN Music City News Country Awards, a title he would win multiple times over the years. That same year, he was also honored as Favorite Male Vocalist of the Year by TNN viewers. His nominations for Entertainer of the Year at both the CMAs and TNN Music City News Country Awards further showed his impact as a dynamic performer. The early 1990s saw Shelton collaborating with other country legends, most notably Dolly Parton on the duet Rockin' Years. This track earned him a Grammy nomination for Best Country Collaboration with Vocals in 1992, while also winning Video of the Year at the TNN Music City News Country Awards. The collaboration highlighted his versatility and ability to seamlessly blend his style with that of another iconic artist. During this period, he also released albums like Backroads and RVS 3, both of which received Album of the Year nominations from multiple award bodies. These projects demonstrated his ability to evolve as an artist, while staying true to the traditional country sound that first won him acclaim. Shelton's influence extended into the Christian country music realm in the mid-90s. He won the Christian Country Artist of the Year award 3 times, from 1995 to 1997, reflecting his ability to inspire audiences beyond mainstream country. His willingness to explore new themes in his music showcased his artistic depth and relevance in a rapidly changing industry. In addition to his numerous wins and nominations, Shelton's impact can also be measured by his ability to consistently resonate with audiences. His songs often touched on universal themes of love, heartbreak, and redemption, making them relatable to listeners across generations. His ability to capture the essence of human emotion through his music ensured his place among the greats of the genre. Ricky Van Shelton's journey is ultimately a great one, filled with moments of triumph and tribulation that have left an indelible mark on the world of country music. Even in his absence, Shelton's music continues to resonate deeply with fans, serving as a lasting impression of his authenticity and artistic excellence. His songs remind listeners of the unique voice and emotional authenticity he brought to the genre. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.